Okay, we are here, and Tara is going to channel Stonehenge today. So, as we know, it is a megalithic monument in Glastonbury, England. And from my research, many tribes came together to build Stonehenge, and it was built one part at a time, and each generations had added their own things to it. So, we're going to find out if this is cosmic technology or where this technology that has to do with King Arthur and Merlin's tells that they came in and built it, or who is going to come through. We'll have to see. But I'm really excited, so we'll just give Tara a second to go ahead and drop in, and we will let her do that. And I'm excited to see who comes through.
Okay,
Hi, how are you? Who do we have?
I am back again. I
Okay.
am translated John Italic.
Thank you so much for coming back. We did have some technical issues and appreciate you coming back for us. Okay, I'm going to open up and ask you, is there anything you would like to share with us before I go ahead and start asking questions?
Yes, there were many who wondered if those surrounding Sir Arthur King, if his involvement was at least a part of your Stonehenge. And he is an aspect, a piece, but not the original builders. We spoke of those. Those came 2 generations before that king, king of the people, and we are 1 generation after. But as I had mentioned before, this was not something that was so long ago we couldn't remember. It was technology and knowledge that was passed down from parent to child, community member to community member, newcomer to newcomer, until, as always occurs, when beings feel threatened by certain knowledge and they want to have power over another, then that knowledge is eradicated, but never completely. You just must rediscover it.
Okay. What advice would you give to those who are watching this video? I feel like there has been a lot of change, and there's probably a lot of change going on in your time when you were here on Earth. What advice would you give to people who are watching this video?
I would like to remind, not to tell, but to remind all the beings on this earthly plane, reminder that you are never separated from any other being. It doesn't matter the tongue in which you speak. It doesn't matter your belief system, your religion, or the region of the world in which you live. All are connected. And it is only the things on this earthly plane that would have you, in an illusory way, believe that you are ever separated, that somehow language is a barrier, your gender is a barrier, your region is a barrier. But your Stonehenge stands as a quite literal monument to the unity of all beings on this planet. And all you have to do is remember that you are a part of everyone and everything, even those persons and those beings which you do not like or you feel that you are detached from. This again is just illusion. They are an aspect of you. And when all remember this, well, all keys to the universe, so to speak, are unlocked.
Thank you. So this was several groups of people coming together to build this monument and these megalithic monuments. And what reason did they do that for?
It was not so that we could marvel at our own magnificence, but we wanted, as a people, as so many different peoples from all over this world, we wanted the generations that came after us to remember unity, remember coming together, and that the only way to fight oppression, to fight what many see as darkness, to fight those who would lord over you, is to remember that that can only occur if you allow it. And that is allowed when you believe that you are only a singular individual. And so we came together and created these large standing stones to remind those that come after us that you are the standing stone. You are solid and large and powerful. And when you come together, you can create portals, real magic. And so those peoples that we worked with, we came together to create this. Those that were well versed in shapes, and those well versed in the stars, and the sun, and the moon, and the tides, and those good with architecture. We all came together to build what many might see as something tangible, but it is meant to be intangible. It is a feeling to be passed down forever.
Okay, thank you. So is Stonehenge cosmic technology, or who created the technology to help you build Stonehenge?
This is, again, as you might call it by different names, source technology. It is when all souls remember that although they may have individual consciousness, that we are all one being, one powerful light. And in that powerful light, we have access to everyone and everything. It doesn't matter what plane of existence they are on. And so in this is how it was created. We didn't physically have to go anywhere. Nobody physically had to come visit us. When all are unified, when all are connected, your energy is connected. Your thoughts, which are energy, your emotions, which are energy. And in this, we speak and see as one. And we created it. Not I, not a certain race, not a certain peoples, but all.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just ask one last question. Is there anything you would like to share with the community that will be watching this to close out with that I did not ask?
Yes, I feel it bears repeating, as I have said it before, not too long ago, that in order to access Stonehenge, in order to access that doorway, that portal, all you need do is to go into your own thoughts, your own energy, and place yourself in the middle of those magnificent standing stones and see yourself in each of the stones, each stone representing a different region of the world. And in those regions, you are mirrored back. They are mirrored back. And you see them interconnected. And you realize you are in the center, yet you are also the people. You are the animals. You are the plants. You are everything. You are the earth itself. Circular, together, powerful. And when you remember that you've never been separated from the rest of humanity, that what you see and hear outside of yourself about there being division, upheaval, and unrest is merely a reflection of what is going on in each and every person. Everyone knows that division is but a lie. And so, of course, there would be unrest. When something does not sit well in your stomach, you lash out. But if you remember that you are never divided from your fellow human, that unrest would go away and love would take its place. And together the world would stand, shoulder to shoulder with those who would claim to be above you and those who claim to be below you. All are equal. All have something unique to share and to give. But yet, we are all the same. And in this, you could never be controlled. No one could ever lord over you. Sovereignty is eminent, as it is now, as it has always been when people come together. And this is your time to come together. You do not need to physically go to Stonehenge, but go to the Stonehenge within your own heart and stand shoulder to shoulder with your fellow human. And in there lies truth, the most powerful thing in all this world. Truth is love, and vice versa.
Thank you so much. I'm very grateful for you coming through. Again, really appreciate you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Ugh. Okay.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
It seemed
I
like, because yes, I did channel him before, but it seemed like this time he had a chance to like figure out what would be like the best thing and then the best thing to say, but in a way that everybody might be able to understand. So he kind of like was like, okay, well, he says for him, he was like, well, you know what? We all need warm-ups in life.
right? Yeah, everything happens how it's supposed to be.
But still, it was the same energy I felt before, where, you know, he feels that kind of kinship with you personally, like, you know, that he is a part of your like actual physical bloodline, which is pretty cool. Like, like your ancestors were a part of that. But we were talking about before, what I think he did a better job kind of explaining this time, was that, you know, Stonehenge, yes, it's a marvel. People like to go see it, but he was talking about emotion and thoughts, and, you know, if we feel like we're divided because like, oh, I don't speak that person's language, or we don't have like the same belief system, you know, but we do feel, you know, the same kind of feelings. Like we know what love feels like, we know what like fear feels like, we know what joy feels like. So if they could create something that didn't really have words inscribed on it, because words that, it gets lost. But if you can create a feeling with those stones, the feeling is the knowledge, and that's what's passed down. And I think we talked before about it being like part of like the solstices. And so the sun, even though it's like it's an external thing, it's a representation of source energy, and source energy is like where we come from. Some people call it God, and it's like, so if we see that and it's like in our face, then it's like, okay, well, that means something, and maybe it'll help jog our memory and remind us that, hey, that's maybe we're not from the sun, but we're from something like that, big and bright, powerful. And so maybe that's a way they knew that if everything's a cycle, there's always going to be somebody coming along who decides they're way more powerful, so we're going to like destroy all these like monuments. It happened in ancient Egypt and Greece, where they would decide that we don't like this pharaoh from before, or this person, so we destroy all their stuff. But if there is no language and it's just a feeling, then that you can't destroy. And that gets passed down. Doesn't matter who's in charge or whatever. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it confirmed like a lot of stuff that came through. I know we had some technical difficulties between them, but a lot of stuff that came through was really confirming to me, and a lot of what I was picking up the last like 24 hours, because I was trying to tune in and see what kind of questions I needed to ask and what would be right to ask, and for also people to be able to understand what I was asking as well. But it was really confirming. Amazing message, and I'm glad it came through twice for us. Thank you.
Well, I was wondering, because normally, like, when I finish a channeling, the energy just kind of like, whoop, goes back to where hence it came. But it's like he kept standing around, and I think he knew. He was like, well, I'm gonna have to jump back in anyway, so I'm just gonna stay here.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
thank
so
you,
funny.
sir. But yeah, again, it's that same kind of like great grandfatherly type energy. I think I mentioned before, and he's looked the same to me, but again, that's subjective. That's just through my own interpretation, that he had like the cloak and the kind of almost medieval looking type clothes, like not really a crown, but something on his head, and but it was like a cloak and lots of clothing, a lot of greens, like greens and reds. But yeah, that was because I know a lot of people have so many questions about Stonehenge, wondering if like it came from extraterrestrials, wondering if it came from like a different dimension, and he was like, it was right here like in this dimension, but we didn't really have to go anywhere. So technically it is the technology of like all different dimensions, but they didn't really have to go anywhere, and nobody really had to come here. It was all like everything was so unified that it was like, if I need to know something, boom, I just know it now, because there's an aspect of me that knows that, and I'm just like connecting to it. And that's something that I think that rulers or whoever wants to rule or be lord over somebody, I think that that's what they fear, is that if everybody just has the knowledge of everything, then like they're not going to need me as their king or as their president or like whatever. They just can do it themselves. I don't want them to know how to do it themselves. So I'll make them believe that that technology is just for special people, or I'll have them believe that they're separated from people around the world, and that we can't come together, but that's just not true. So I am interested to hear what you guys think. What did you get in your individual channelings, downloads? If you pulled some cards on it, if you still have questions on it, please put that in below in the chat and in the comments. Because remember, this is all just knowledge, and we all have different perspectives. Our souls have different perspectives, so we're gonna see things differently. We might have information that somebody else didn't quite see or connect to. So let's put all that below. And thank you for everybody who's come up with topics and questions and added to discussions. And thank you to Heather. Wait, there she is. So and for coming here multiple times. She's helped with past channelings as well as the one from earlier today. And yeah, if you would like to be a guest interviewer like Heather, all you have to do is email me, Tara@kittenswaitsandtarot.com. If you're not a fan of being on the interwebs, then we could do a one-on-one channeling in private, and you get a audio recording of that channeling. You could check that out on my website, kittenswaitsandtarot.com. But again, thank you so much, Heather.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, so I will catch you guys next time, and keep those comments and suggestions coming. Again, thank you to Heather, and we will catch you later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys.